she was mine, she looked so good. I wanna hold her tight, get teenage kicks right through the night. I'm gonna call her on the telephone, have her over 'cause I'm all alone. I need excitement, no, I need it bad, and it's the best I've ever had. I wanna hold her tight, get teenage kicks right through the night. I wanna hold her tight, get teenage kicks right through the night. It's a heartache, nothing but a heartache. Hits you.
My name's Tony Cassidy.
What did you first come to Twinbrook?
I first came to Twinbrook in 1971.
What year did you open your shop in Twinbrook, and why did you leave?
That was the year I opened the shop. We came in 1971. I worked there for over 30 years, and we sold the shop at that time. That's why I left.
What was your best part of running the shop in Twinbrook?
The best part of running the shop in Twinbrook was meeting a lot of new people and seeing children growing up. It was always very interesting to see the children coming first, and then their mothers and fathers and the families growing up together.
How has Twinbrook changed since you were first worked there?
Well, it has changed dramatically in that when I first worked there, on the way up there were no other houses, only on this side of the road. The transport was not what it is now. People didn't have cars and they depended on buses, so we were out in the country really, and that's how it has changed dramatically.
Have you a message for all the children and staff in St Mark's as it celebrates its 40th anniversary on January the 7th, 2014?
Well, all I can say to them is keep working hard at school, enjoy your time at school, get involved in sport and other activities after school, but really enjoy your time now. It is the most important time of your lives.
My name's Frank McGrady, and I came to Twinbrook round about 40 years ago.
Okay, thank you. Where did you live before Twinbrook, and why did you move?
We lived over in Woodstock Road, and because of the troubles we had to move out. It wasn't safe for Catholics to be where we were, and we shifted up to Twinbrook.
Oh, thank you. Who came with you when you first moved to Twinbrook? Did you have any help settling in?
When we came up to Twinbrook first, was me, my wife, and we had 5 children between the ages of 4 months and 9-year-old. And we came to Twinbrook and we had no house at all. We had nowhere to live, and the people that were already up in Twinbrook were from the parish that we had left, and they were very helpful and supportive to us.
My name's Alice Owens. I came to Twinbrook in June '72.
Where did you live before Twinbrook, and where did you move?
I originally come from Ardoyne, but I lived in Moyard before I came to Twinbrook.
What was Twinbrook like when you first moved here? Were there shops, buses and lots of houses?
Well, plenty of houses, some finished, some not. Shops, no. The nearest shops were Suffolk.
Yeah.
And the bus service was very poor.
Paddy Loughran. I just say I'm delighted to be back.
When did you work in St. Mark's Primary School?
I started teaching in St. Mark's in Christmas 1974. That's when the school opened. It was a brand new school, but very quickly there was so many children wanted to come to it that we had to have mobiles added. So I actually started off teaching in the mobile classrooms that were in at the moment. I taught in St. Mark's right through until 2006 when I retired. That was 32 years. After, when the school opened here at first, there was an influx of people from all over Belfast, from the Shore Road, from East Belfast, from the Falls Road, mostly people who were burnt out of their homes or who had to flee their homes in fear of being attacked. And they came to Twinbrook and they established a brand new community here. And there was tremendous sort of relief that they were finally in a community where they were safe. And there was terrific community spirit.
My name is Violet McGrady and we came to Twinbrook the 4th of July 1972.
Where did you live before Twinbrook and why did you move?
We lived in East Belfast, St Anthony's Parish, and we had to move because the troubles got worse and it wasn't safe to live there.
Who came with you when you first moved to Twinbrook? Did you have any help settling in?
Well, my 5 children came with me and my husband, and the people that were here before me from St Anthony's Parish helped me to settle in because they had to go through the same thing.
What part of Twinbrook did you first move into and what was the most difficult thing for you when you first moved here?
Well, we moved to 75 Gardner Road where we're still living, and the most difficult thing was we were all sleeping in different houses. I was in Kathleen Flynn's house with the 2 youngest, and my 2 daughters was in Lila Thompson's house, and the other son was in Anne Gimney's house, and my husband was sleeping in 75 Gardner Road because he had to stay in it for if he came out of it, somebody else would take the house.
Well, my name is Mark Wilkinson. I came to Twinbrook, we got the house on the 27th of November 1972, and that's when we moved up here.
Where did you live before Twinbrook and why did you move?
Well, my mother and my 2 children and I lived in my home, as I would call it then, in the Willowfield district of Belfast, which is East Belfast, and it was St Anthony's Parish in Willowfield. And I had lived there, I was born there, and I lived there for quite a while. And the reason why we left at the time in 1972, which was rather a bad year in Belfast, there was certain young chaps in that part of Belfast who were called the Tartan Gang. And they were only young lads, about 16, they were teenagers, and they used to wear these tartan scarves. And there wasn't too many Catholic people lived over there, but it was a mixed area, but there wasn't that many Catholics lived in the road we were on, called Rosebery Road. But my mother had lived there since before the Second World War, and we were all brought up there. But these young lads started to they didn't like the Catholic people living among them. So they decided we'll get rid of them. So they used to burn the Catholic people out of their houses. Yes. And nobody touched us because my mum had lived there for so long. But there was a young couple lived next door to us and somebody set fire to their back door one night. And this had been going on for months and months all around the area. And even our own Protestant neighbours tried to help, but they were threatened that they would get the same thing done to them if they tried to help their Catholic neighbours. So my brothers and my sister decided, right, Mum, you're not staying here any longer. So we packed up and had to leave. We had no choice. So that's how I came to this side of Belfast, which I knew nothing about, with my mum, my 2 children. Michael was 7 and Margaret was still a toddler. So we all came and lived in my sister's house for a while. And then we got a house here in Twinbrook, and that's how we came here.
What is your name and when did you first come to Twinbrook?
My name's Lillian McManus, as you know.
Yes, I do.
And I came to Twinbrook in June 1972, just at midsummer time in June.
As most of you know, this is my granny. Where did you live before Twinbrook and why did you move?
We lived previously in a big estate called Rathcoole in Newton Abbey, and it was at the height of our troubles here in Ireland, and a lot of families were displaced because of the trouble, and we were one of those families. And it was basically because our children were at risk. It wouldn't have been safe to stay in Rathcoole any longer, so we had to move to Twinbrook.
Interesting, yes. Who came with you when you first moved to Twinbrook? Did you have any help setting in?
Well, when we came, your grandfather John drove a lorry, and we had all our half of our furniture on top of the lorry, and there was myself, Jerry McManus, your uncle, and Connor. Now Jerry was only about 5 and Connor was a toddler of just over a year old. We didn't really have a lot of help settling in, and the first day was very difficult because the houses that we moved into were not finished. We didn't have cooking facilities, and the first help I got was from my lovely next door neighbour, Lila Thompson, who had a little camping cooker, and she let me warm food for the baby.
Classroom, teacher, leave them kids alone. Hey, teacher, leave them kids alone. All in all, it's just another brick in the wall. You're just another brick in the wall. We don't need no education. We don't need no school control. Lots of handsome in the classroom. Teachers leave the kids alone. Hey, teacher, leave us kids alone. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall.
For us, for whom Down and Connor is home. And he is the preacher of the gospel of the Lord. One was very conscious of this charism, I think, when the Holy Father was here 18 months ago. Parish is a worshiping community around God's altar. And here we get our sense of. Here we profess our faith.
Take it easy.
And here we eat the body.
That's my name. My name is Mark Wilkinson.
Yeah, he's my dad. What things did you like about St Mark's and growing up in Twinbrook?
The thing I liked about St Mark's is everybody basically knew everybody, and it was a nice familiar environment for us all to grow and learn together. And that was what was good about St Mark's, that everybody knew all the teachers knew your name, and it was close-knit, and it was very comfortable coming into the school every day.
My name is Margaret MacDonald, and when I was at St Mark's I was Margaret Comiskey, because I've got married since then. I have a son at St Mark's and he's in P2 and his name is Zach MacDonald, and I also went to St Mark's and my brother went to St Mark's.
When did you attend St Mark's? What part of Twinbrook did you live in?
I attended St Mark's in 1975 when I started in P1, and we lived in Mulberry Park, which is literally just around the corner from St Mark's, so I was about 5 minutes walk from school, which was brilliant because we were so handy.
What things do you like about St Mark's and growing up in Twinbrook?
St Mark's was a great wee school. All my friends went to St Mark's. My chums would have come and called for me in the morning and we'd all walk down together, because there was none of this dad's taxi or mum's taxi dropping you off in the morning. There was no cars to drop you off, and we lived so close that you wouldn't have wanted to do that anyway. And so all of us would have chummed about together and walked across the road at the top of the hill.
My name, Shay, is Declan Crudden, and no, I don't have any children or grandchildren currently at St Mark's.
When did you attend St Mark's and what part of Twinbrook did you live in?
When did I attend St Mark's? It was 19, I think I first came to St Mark's in 1978, and I would have left in 1984. And I lived, Shay, in how would I put it, in the posh part of Twinbrook. Okay, I lived in Thornhill Crescent. And the reason why I say it's posh is because, Shay, when I was growing up in Twinbrook in them years, we had our own heating plant out the back of our houses for our heating, and then we got our own gymnasium, the Brook Activity Centre, built at the bottom of our street. And in the street I lived, there was lots of people who went to St Mark's. There was the Lemons, the McGraths, the Nesbitts. Then across the street from me there would have been the Todds and the McKeowns. So there was a whole load from our street at that time who attended St Mark's.
Twinbrook and Polglass were built on the outskirts of West Belfast to relieve chronic overcrowding in that area. But although some 20,000 people moved into the two estates, jobs by and large didn't, leaving the district with an unemployment rate of about 70%. Community groups have worked hard to give the people of both estates a feeling of pride in their area. The Dairy Farm Centre is the biggest achievement in that respect. Until now, there were no more than a handful of shops in the district. Now local people finally have their own shopping and community centre.
Hello, my name is Brenda McCafferty. It was Kerr, and yes, my 3 children all came to St Mark's, and so did my granddaughter Ella McCafferty.
When did you attend St Mark's and what part of Twinbrook did you live in?
I attended St Mark's 40 years ago, in 1973 approximately, and I lived in Acacia Avenue in Twinbrook.
Have you a message for all the children and staff in St Mark's as it celebrates its 40th anniversary on January the 7th, 2014?
Yes, St Mark's has very happy memories for myself and my family and my granddaughter. I felt very secure and fitted in at St Mark's, and once again had lots of friends.
Hi Joshua, my name's Brenda Giffen.
When did you work in St Mark's recently?
I started work in St Mark's in February 2000 and left, I'd say it was maybe the end of July 2007.
What was your job when you were at St Mark's?
I was a classroom assistant here. Again, it would be just to tell all the children, not just now, you know, for these special celebrations, but to take part in everything, through their whole school career, take part in as much as they can, because when you take part in things, you know, you feel part of something, and that helps you, you know, feel part of something, and it creates good memories. And for when you're older like me, and you might be sitting where I'm sitting someday, and also for the staff, just to keep up the good work.
I saw a man brought to life. He was warm, he came around like he was dignified. He showed me what it was to cry. Well, you couldn't be that man I adored. You don't seem to know, seem to care what your heart is for. Well, I don't know him anymore. There's nothing where he used to lie. Conversation has run dry. That's what's going on. Nothing's fine, I'm torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I am shamed, lying naked on the floor. Illusion never changed into something real. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. You're a little late, I'm already torn. So I guess the fortune teller's right. I should have seen just what was there and not some holy light. But you crawl beneath my veins and now I don't care, I have no luck. I don't miss it all that much. There's just so many things that I can't touch. I'm torn, I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I am shamed, lying naked on the floor. Illusion never changed into something real. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. You're a little late, I'm already torn. There's nothing where he used to lie. My inspiration has run dry. That's what's going on. Nothing's right, I'm torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I am shamed, lying naked on the floor. Illusion never changed into something real. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I'm ashamed, bound and broken on the floor. You're a little late, I'm already torn.
My name's Kevin Smith.
When did you work in St Mark's Primary School?
Oh, now I started working St Mark's, I think the year was 1991, and I finished in 2011. I think that's correct.
was your job when you were here and you were at St. Mark's, please?
When I was here, I was the school principal, and I just hope that St. Mark's have as successful a 40 years, the next 40 years I hope will be as successful, and when they are completed you'll be sitting on my chair and someone will be interviewing you and asking you about St. Mark's. So I'd just like everybody to continue on as I've been doing the past 40 years, continue to keep up the high standards, and continue to have a very happy school.
Well, my name now is Anne Loughran, but when I started St. Mark's Primary School I was called Miss Brady. That's how the children knew me as then, Miss Brady. And I'm Mrs. Loughran.
When did you work in St. Mark's Primary School?
I started teaching here in 1975. I did my last teaching practice here, and Mr. McGean, who was principal then, told me that there were jobs coming up in September, so I loved the school and teaching practice, so I applied for a job here, and I was very lucky to get a job, and I taught here for 33 years and left in 2008.
What is your favourite memory of St. Mark's?
I don't have one favourite memory, but my favourite time I think in St. Mark's would have been round about Christmas time when the children did Christmas concerts. And when I started at the beginning, every single class in this primary 1, 2 and 3 performed something on stage, and the teachers used to make the costumes for the children. So it was great fun when the parents came up, because the parents didn't know what the children were going to be dressed like. So it was great excitement on the concert days when the parents came up, and there was a lovely community atmosphere and everybody was so happy and so friendly, and you just felt really proud that you had achieved so much with the class and how well the class did. So Christmas concerts would have been one of my favourite times.
Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say I really don't think you're strong enough now. Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say I really don't think you're strong enough now. Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say I really don't think you're strong enough now. Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say I really don't think you're strong enough now.
My name is Eileen Carville.
When did you work in St. Mark's Primary School?
I started St. Mark's Primary School the very day it opened. We didn't even come into the primary school, we went into a wee hut across the road there, just beside where the Irish school is, because the school wasn't finished. And that was January 1972. Or 3, was it? Oh, 3. 4. 1974, that's right. Because I started my first teaching over in St. Luke's for the first few months, and then St. Mark's opened. That's why I ended up over here with Mr. Loughran.
What was your job when you were at St. Mark's Primary School?
When I started, first of all, I was just a primary 1 teacher. In fact, I was supposed to be a primary 7 teacher, but the primary 1 teacher didn't like primary 7, or primary 1, so I swapped with her. Her name was Mrs. Eastwood. So Mr. McGean said to me, would you go down to primary 1, because Mrs. Eastwood doesn't like teaching in primary 1. She didn't like the wee tiny ones, and that's why I ended up in primary 1. And then after 10 years, I went into reception class. Do you know what reception class is? Yes, with the wee tiny ones. And then about 10 years later, they built a nursery school, and I got the job of running the nursery school. It's called nursery coordinator. That was great fun.
What was the best part of your job?
Well, I suppose the bit I liked the best was working with the children and the parents. I really enjoyed working with them and helping them in any way I could. Every day was different and fun. Some days were really busy and hard work. You can imagine we 3-year-olds, there was lots of pants getting wet, and falls and cut eyes and cut noses. But there was lots of happy times singing with them and teaching them new skills, how to do jigsaws and how to paint, and it was great fun. I like that the best, I think, working with the children and the parents.
What was the worst part of your job?
Oh, I hated all the paperwork. No planning your lessons and writing it all down. Because you had most of it on your head, but because of the inspectors, you had to write it down. And Mr. Smith, Mr. McGain used to look at your notes. Hated that, and filling in, evaluating the children and filling in forms and all that paperwork. I didn't enjoy that at all, but I had to do it.
What was your favourite memory in St Mark's?
What was my favourite memory? I'll tell you this one. This is a very funny memory. My third year teaching, it was about 1975, 76. There was a wee boy didn't really settle in the class. His name was John. Cried every day. He used to come to the door, he used to kick the door and run away over the feet, and his daddy would run after him. His daddy would have said, "Get back to school, John," and he said, "I don't like school, don't like school." And this went on for a full week. It took me a full week to settle him, and he ended up being the principal of the school, Mr. McGrady. Would you believe that? So he didn't even like school, and he ended up working in the place. I wouldn't have believed that, would you? And that's a true story.
I began to work 17 years ago.
What do you work as in St Mark's?
I'm the nursery coordinator.
Did you have a
another job before you worked in St Mark's?
Before I came to St Mark's, I worked for 5 years in St Luke's Primary School.
Could you describe a day at work in St Mark's, please?
Very busy, from start to finish. Just playing with the children, talking to parents in the morning, doing all work in the office, helping out with dinners, serving dinners, tidying up, reading stories, putting on coats. Very, very busy.
What is the best part of your job?
The best part is getting to know all the wee 3-year-olds that come in each year and seeing how they move on and develop and learn to listen to story and sit for dinner time and become more independent and make wee friends, and talking to mummies in the morning and finding out all about the children. I suppose the thing I really like about it is that every day is different and every day is busy and every day goes really quickly, and each day is always great fun.
When did you begin to work in St Mark's Primary School?
It was about 10 years ago.
What do you work as in St Mark's?
The dinner supervising and cleaner in St Mark's as well.
Did you have another job before you worked in St Mark's?
Yeah. I worked in Musgrave Park Hospital.
Could you describe a day at work in St Mark's, please?
Just basically giving out the children's dinner and taking them out the yard and supervising them at playtime, and then on to do the cleaning.
What is the best part of your job?
The Primary 7 play, when the kids are all getting ready for their parts and the build up to it.
Thank you, Orla. Father Brian McCann, my name.
When did you begin your work in St Luke's Parish?
I came here, Orla, in January 2011, so I'm almost every 3 years here in January coming.
What is your favourite memory of working in St Mark's?
I have a lot of memories, really. Happy memories over these last 3 years. Certain days stand out as happy days in my memory. First communions, confirmations, but also too the records of achievements that are presented. The celebration where the records of achievement are presented for the primary 7s at the end of their time. Those records of achievement really, you can see the pride that the boys and girls take in what they have achieved over 7 years in St Mark's, and it's a real testimony to their hard work and the hard work of their teachers. And, so those are just some of the happy memories.
What is your name?
My name is Siobhan McTaggart.
When did you begin to work in St Mark's Primary School?
I started in January 3 years ago.
What do you work as in St Mark's?
I'm the Vice Principal and I also teach.
Have you a message for all the children and staff in St Mark's as it celebrates its 40th anniversary on January 7th?
My message is good luck to everybody for the future and best wishes to you all for the next 40 years.
My name is Noreen Kearney.
What did you begin to work in St Mark's Primary School?
I began working in St Mark's just over a year ago.
What do you work as in St Mark's?
I am the school secretary in St Mark's.
What is your favourite memory of working in St Mark's?
I think one of the nice memories is the Christmas shows, the concerts, the end of the year show. There's just so much work that everybody puts into them, all the staff and the children, and there's such a great success.
Hello, my name is Dylan Irvine and I'm in Miss Green's class, and I'm going to ask you 10 questions about your job in St Mark's Primary School. What is your name?
My name is John Grady Dillon.
What did you begin to work in St Mark's Primary School?
So, when did I begin to work? I began to work in St Mark's Primary School in, I think it was 1993. It was a secondment. Mrs Goff was working for Troco or something for 2 years, and I was meant to do the secondment for 2 years. I think I only stuck it out 1 year because it all happened really fast for me. Dylan and I went to St Mark's, and then straight out I went to St Mary's, and then university, and then I was in Glasgow, training to be a teacher, and then the very next year I was back to my old primary school. So it was like a big fast circle, and life was going too quickly for me, I thought at that time. And I left after a year, I think, and I went travelling in America. But the thing that stands out for me most is I had this class for 3 years. I was very, very privileged to have this class. It was a lovely wee class. And it wasn't quite a big class. I think it was just early 20s, you know, the numbers. And unfortunately for them, they had me in P5, P6 and P7. And that class, I set up the first school council, St Mark's first school council with that class. And that class were amazing. That class went down to Dublin, that class went to Derry, the class worked with Nicky, they worked with Amnesty International, and they really did help children's rights, promote children's rights, and they really did help schools across Ireland to form their own school council. So that's the thing that stands out with me with regards to St Mark's. I was proud that I was involved with, you know, that class. I had them for 3 years, so I knew them very, very well, and they were a great wee bunch of people.
Have you a message for all the children and staff in St Mark's as they celebrate the 40th anniversary on July 7, 2014?
I just, all the children, I just wish them all the very best, from playgroup to the nursery, and you know, children in primary schools, they'd probably be seeing the end of St Mark's as we know it. And we're going to have to look forward to the bright future, which will be a brand new school. Now Dylan, you probably won't see us, you'll be off in your post-primary. What school do you hope to go to, Dylan?
St Mark's, no, St Mary's.
St Mary's, so you'd be off in St Mary's, maybe you'll be coming down, maybe
visits,
work experience, and you'll be going to a brand new school. Down where St Luke's is now. Now it won't be called St Luke's, won't be called St Mark's, but that's what just good luck in the future. Everything that is being done at the minute is for the children of Twinbrook and beyond. So just good luck and embrace change.
Happy 40th anniversary, St Mark's, from all of us here at St Dominic's. Happy 40th anniversary,